Okay, so we've just learned about proportions. Now we're going to use proportions to solve some real life problems. So you will be responsible for setting up the proportion as well as solving it. So even if you can find another way to solve these problems, the directions are asking you to write a proportion to solve it. So for question number 1, it says there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. How many pounds are in 80 ounces? So we are comparing ounces and pounds. So I like to actually write the words first in a fraction, in a ratio. It does not matter if you put ounces over pounds or pounds over ounces. It does matter that both of the fractions in your proportion follow the same pattern. So in other words, if you're going to do ounces over pounds, both of the fractions in your proportions need to be ounces over pounds. You cannot stray from that once you've written it down. So in the first situation, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So I'm going to say 16 ounces for 1 pound. And then it says, let's do a different color here, how many pounds are in 80 ounces? So we're writing a proportion. The 80 is the ounces, and that goes on top. We don't know how many pounds. It actually says how many pounds. So if you don't know that value, you're going to put a variable. You can choose any letter you want for the variable. I just choose X every time to keep it simple. So now you know how to solve this because we've just learned how to solve proportions. We're going to do some cross products here. I'll do 16 times X equals 80 times 1, which of course is just 80. Whoops. All right, so now we're going to divide both sides by 16. You are allowed to use your calculator as long as you're showing your work. So this is how I show my work. In my calculator, I'm going to do 80 divided by 16 to get 5. So we found out that there are 5 pounds. 5 pounds equal 80 ounces. I guess it shouldn't really say how many pounds are in 80 ounces. 80 ounces are actually in 5 pounds. It's funny, I've used this page of notes for years and just now realized that that's worded incorrectly. All right, moving right along to example number 2. Janet made 48 cookies. I don't know how she knows this, maybe she counted, but she used 1,104 chocolate chips for all of the cookies. How many chocolate chips were in 5 cookies? So we are comparing cookies and chips. So I will do cookies over chips. Again, it doesn't matter if you do cookies on top or chips on top, as long as you do it the same way for both of your fractions. I'm going to be setting up a proportion. In the first part of my problem, 48 cookies has 1,104 chocolate chips. So I'm going to do 48 cookies over 1,104 chips. In the second part of my problem, it says that how many chocolate chips are in 5 cookies. So I know that the cookies goes in the numerator, so I'm going to put the 5 in the numerator where the cookies go. I do not know how many chips, so that will go in the denominator where I have assigned chips. So now I'm going to do some cross products to solve this proportion. I'll do 48 times X equals 1,104 times 5. Again, it's okay to use your calculator for this as long as you're showing me your work. So what I've done so far is how you would show your work. I'm going to put in my calculator 1,104 times 5, and I get 5,520. And then to solve this one-step equation, since X is being multiplied by 48, the opposite is to divide by 48. So 5,520 divided by 48 is 115. So what we just found out is that there are 115 chocolate chips in 5 cookies. Sounds good to me. Let's try the last example. It says there are 18,480 feet in 3.5 miles. How many feet are in 2 miles? So we're comparing feet and miles. So I'm going to write a ratio over here. It doesn't matter if I put miles over feet or feet over miles, as long as it's the same for both of the fractions in my proportion. In this first situation, it says that there are 18,000, oops, I put it in the wrong spot. It actually doesn't matter, but let's keep doing it the same way so we can get used to it. 18,480 feet in 3.5 miles. The second part of the question says, how many feet are in 2 miles? So the 2 is the miles. We said miles are going in the denominator. We don't know how many feet. So I'll put the x for the unknown in the numerator where I have decided to put my feet. So let me do some cross products to solve. 3.5 times x equals 18,480 times 2. I'm going to do that multiplication part of my problem in my calculator because I'm showing my work, so I'm allowed to do that. 18,480 times 2 gives me 36,960. And then I have a one-step equation there. So since I have 3.5 times x, I'm going to divide both sides by 3.5 to find out what x is. In my calculator, I'm going to do 36,960 divided by 3.5 to get 10,560. This is how many feet are in 2 miles. So that's how you write and solve proportions from word problems. Thanks for watching.